Those bristles along the side of an escalator are not there to clean your shoes. They're there because the most dangerous part of the escalator is not the step you stand on. It is the narrow area where the moving step passes the fixed side panel. That is the place where laces, loose clothing, soft shoes, and small feet can get pulled too close. The brush exists to warn you before you reach that real hazard. The myth is easy to believe. It touches your shoe. It looks like a cleaner. It feels like a built-in shoe brush. But if cleaning were the goal, it would be a terrible design. It is too small, too soft, and placed in the wrong spot. Its real job is not to scrub dirt off you. Its job is to make you shift away from the edge. An escalator step does not move by itself in open space. It travels right next to a stationary side panel called the skirt. A small clearance has to exist there because the step needs room to move. But that also creates a risk zone. If something soft drifts into that side area and starts rubbing, the machine keeps doing exactly what it was built to do: move. That is why the step-to-skirt area gets so much attention in escalator safety design. So why use a brush? Because the goal is not to stop an accident after it starts. The goal is to stop the setup before it becomes one. The bristles create a light physical cue. You feel them on your shoe or ankle, and you instinctively move back toward the center of the step. That tiny reaction is the whole design. The brush is not the wall. It is the warning line before the wall. The obvious question is, why not just remove the gap completely? Because escalators are mechanical systems built around moving steps, tight tolerances, wear, and maintenance limits. You cannot simply erase that interface and expect the machine to work the same way. So the real answer became layered safety, controlled clearances, low-friction skirt panels, protective switches, visual warnings, comb protections, and deflector brushes that guide passengers away from the edge before contact becomes a problem. The brush matters, but it is only one part of the system. These were not added for style. They spread because side-of-step entrapment became a serious enough problem that safety guidance and industry standards had to respond. That is why this small strip of bristles keeps showing up in malls, airports, train stations, and public buildings everywhere. It looks cosmetic. It is not. It is a cheap, passive behavior control tool sitting next to a mechanical hazard. So the next time you see those shoe brushes, read them correctly. They are not there to polish your sneakers. They are there to make the safe position feel natural and the unsafe position feel wrong. That is the real trick. On an escalator, the machine is not only moving people, it is quietly training them. If you want more small things with big reasons, subscribe.